Welcome everyone to the Freddie and Alyssa Show. We've got some news for you today. I think our lives have been pretty action-packed the past 6 weeks, but we're about to have some normalcy, which we're really looking forward to. We're in an Airbnb right now, just for the next 2 days. You're watching this Wednesday, so that might the day you're watching this might be our last night here, and we're going to have our own place, so we're going to get into that today. So let's hop into the episode. Welcome everyone to the Freddie and Alyssa Show. If you're new to the channel, be sure to subscribe, like, comment, all that fun YouTube stuff. If you're watching on Facebook and you want to follow the page, that would be awesome. And if you're listening on a platform like iTunes, hello out there. If you want to give us a 5-star review because you think we deserve it, that would be incredible. We've been putting up content now for about 4 years professionally. We're having a blast, and we couldn't be doing this without you. So thank you so much for tuning in every single Wednesday and catching up on our crazy adventurous lives. Let's talk about what's happening. But first, let's a word from our sponsor, spoken through the beautiful Alyssa Tabbitt.
Today's episode is brought to you by HarperCollins with The Lost and Found Bookshop by Susan Wiggs. If you're looking for that perfect feel-good summer read, look no further. Sit back, relax, and now you can enjoy the New York Times bestseller, now in paperback, The Lost and Found Bookshop by Susan Wiggs. So the premise of this book surrounds a young woman named Natalie Harper, and after her mother's death, she inherits this charming but financially strapped bookshop in San Francisco, and she becomes a caretaker to her ailing grandfather, and books provide welcome solace for her grief and struggle. People magazine calls the book a feel-good family saga, a charming tale about the silver linings of unwanted detours. I think we've all had some of those in our life.
Yes.
Definitely can attest to that. And this read is perfect for readers of Jennifer Weiner and Emily Henry. So whether, it's your top pick for a book club, or maybe you're just looking to kick back, relax on vacation at home, you can get your copy of The Lost and Found Bookshop by Susan Wiggs at www.harpercollins.com. That's HarperCollins.com. Again, www.harpercollins.com. Grab your copy of The Lost and Found Bookshop by Susan Wiggs and enjoy, baby.
When you were talking about the book, and I was hearing inheriting a bookshop, I was thinking about the work that must be. Ooh. Unless it was run well. Because even for us right now, going through, because I don't know if this ever happens in life. I mean, I'm sure it has, obviously. But the fact that Alyssa's parents, so if someone who hasn't been following the journey, I want to do kind of a little bit of a recap of what's been going on the past 8 months since we've moved to Florida, just to catch everyone up in case you've missed episodes along the way. But Alyssa and I decided to move to Florida. It was always our goal. Yep. We wanted by 2020, 2021, like around that time, to move to Florida. Alyssa grew up in Fort Lauderdale, and Orlando was kind of like an idea. I always think South Florida is what we wanted.
Right.
In 2016, we actually did move to Boca, but only for 6 months. We had an apartment. We were doing bi-coastal. We were living in LA and in Florida. And then once I went back to the show in 2015, we decided, let's just stay in California. Yeah. This back and forth's a waste of money. But we always wanted to go to Florida. There's something about this state that we've loved. It's where she grew up. And Orlando, the reason that we kind of picked it originally is when we decided in the summer of 2020 to move to Florida, we just wanted to get the biggest bang for our buck with an Airbnb, because we knew the stress, the challenge, what's another good adjective of like leaving a 15-year life that you're used to.
We just wanted some ease in our life, we wanted a good transition ultimately.
Yeah, so we figured why not pick an amazing place where we can, and it was still the height of the pandemic. We definitely didn't want to be in a condo and apartment building, because bringing Benji out 3 times a day, sharing an elevator, and just we wanted something that was just perfect, which we found with this Airbnb that we stayed in for 2 months. So it was a really big, nice house. It had no neighbors, had a pool, and we just really wanted to enjoy ourselves. So we moved here in October, and we basically picked Orlando because that was where the Airbnb was. Because we weren't really opposed to South Florida.
No.
I think we even looked in Sarasota. We looked in different places. Well, around that same time, Alyssa's dad her parents live in New Jersey, got a offer to potentially take over this branch where he works in Orlando, Florida. And that was kind of a back and forth.
Which we kind of knew could be a possibility, which in the very beginning is why we looked into Orlando, but it ended up happening. And when did they get that news? Probably around December, I want to say.
Yeah, so we were already here.
We were settled. We were in this Airbnb getting ready to get married.
Yeah, so
what's going on?
When the Airbnb came to an end, which was like October, November, we had to make the decision, do we rent a place? Do we try to buy a place? And we didn't have our furniture yet. And we said, we're getting married. That was way harder to plan than you could ever imagine. Anyone who's planned a wedding knows that it's just, you think it's going to be one thing and it ends up being something else. And we eloped, so there was only 2 of us. So I can't imagine organizing a 200-person wedding. So we said, why don't we just lease this place if the owners are cool with it, which they were. And it was a little pricey, but we figured for the convenience, why not? It's a great place. Pandemic was still at its height, where everyone was still kind of afraid to go out, and like the vaccines hadn't come yet. So we're like, this is probably smart for our health and for everything to stay in this house. We get the word from your parents that they are moving down to Orlando in April. So we knew around our wedding that her parents were going to be here in Orlando, and that was the best news ever. And I love that my parents are an hour and 47 minutes away on a direct flight from Cleveland to Orlando. So everything makes sense. My cousins both vacation once or twice a year to Orlando. So it's just like there's like a hub here.
Yeah.
And we said, okay, this is where we want to stay. Well, then, when you heard your parents were buying a house, we kind of always been thinking about real estate, and I took tons of courses on real estate investing, and we've always talked about real estate.
Yeah, for a long time.
For a very long time. I didn't know if we wanted to be agents or investors or whatever it is, but there was something about real estate ever since Vantage in 2015.
Yep.
I started taking online real estate classes with no goal in mind other than I just wanted to be knowledgeable about real estate, because it's a lot of numbers, it's a lot of market analysis, and that kind of stuff really gets me going. And when we heard her parents were coming out and buying a really nice house, I started doing the math on the 3% there.
Shocker, Freddie Smith doing the math.
And I was like, if we're ever going to get into real estate, now's kind of the time, because we have a softball commission and experience where you're not embarrassed imagine being a real estate agent, which every real estate agent at one point had their first deal, and you don't know what you're doing. So we figured, why not have your parents be the first deal? Right. And then we had to make the decision, well, can we both study? Can we both become agents and still maintain the rest of our business and shooting videos and our life and like everything going on? So we decided that it'd be good if Alyssa, because she's more the, I don't learn that way. But if I do get my license one day,
I love to absorb information on a page. That's my jam, I guess, if you could say.
Yeah, I'll study. I did good in school. I got A's through memorization. But these days with real estate, I'm interested.
Right. Because
when someone asks me a question, I actually want to be able to share with them the correct information, not only as a professional, but I just think it's interesting. So anytime I learn something, if you're learning something to teach it, you're going to absorb it more than just trying to learn it to pass some kind of test. Right. So real estate's something I am interested in. Yep. So we're eventually going to do that. But Alyssa decided to do that. So she went all out, busted her ass for 2 months, even maybe 10 weeks, studied everything, passed the test, and we were able to get your parents a house.
Yep.
And then during this time, we had this like real estate fever of like, well, let's buy a place. And we figured, well, that would be smart. And one of the reasons is because with the brokerage she went with, after your first 3 transactions, we start earning 100% of the commission. There is also some lawn care happening outside. I hope the mic isn't picking it up, but we apologize. They've been working on it all day today. So we looked into the buying process. What did you feel about the buying process? Is that something you really wanted to do? Because I know the last thing we wanted to do was rent an apartment.
Oh,
and we're going to get to why that has now become the thing we did.
Remember that very important
We're going to circle back to the big news of renting an apartment. Anyway,
Anyway.
it is good news. We're going to circle back to why it was a good idea to rent an apartment. But at first, we wanted to buy a home like married adults.
Right. Which, at the time when we first started looking into it, we're like, this makes sense. This is exactly what we should have been doing. You know, maybe we should have been looking back in October, November, December when the market wasn't cray-cray. But we didn't go that route. We went the route of looking when the market is more intense and on fire than one could ever imagine. So this gave us a little bit of an interesting situation because we've been floating around from Airbnb to hotel to Airbnb, and we're at the point where we just need a place to put our roots down. Like I feel like it's messing with our schedule, even getting all of the content here, plus the real estate business, plus everything else that we're doing and just normal life in general. You need a place to live, you know, because we've been living out of a suitcase, I would say, for the past 3 weeks, maybe.
Even a little more at this point.
And I'm a Leo, I'm a creature of habit, and I just do not work well like this. So we started looking again at buying houses, and it is just so intense right now that, and I'm seeing this being a real estate agent on the buyer's end, you put in offer after offer after offer after offer, hoping, praying, pleading that this is one and they accept it. But all these homes are getting 10 to 20 offers, and a lot of them are like 20,000 over asking price. So that's a whole nother story. But once we really looked at everything, we go, buying right now, just, it's too stressful. It's too much. We have new careers, new life, new place that we're living. Yeah. We just needed a little bit of, you know, like actual home.
Well, and here's the fun part that I like, even though it worked against us. But this is important information for somebody who is trying to purchase a home right now in June of 2021. This isn't 100%, but it looks like it is from what we're seeing. Usually you could buy a home for 3 to 5, 10% down, and 20% is more of a, you know, conventional, like 20, 30%. This way you don't have any principal mortgage insurance, which is like $200 to $300 extra every month until you pay off 20% of your loan. So to put down a solid down payment of 20% is kind of the way to go. But a lot of lenders will allow 3%, will allow 5%. But in this market, when there's 5, 10, 15, 20, even we heard of one house, 27 offers, no seller is going to go with a 3% or 5% down person because the houses are appraising for way less than people are buying them for. And this has just been fascinating, whether you're a real estate agent for 30 years or you just started out. This is a phenomenon because usually homes will appraise pretty equal if everything's, you know, going well. But these houses are appraising sometimes even 50,000 to 100,000 under value. And if you don't have enough money to cover that gap with a 3% down, the deal falls through. So people who are getting the homes right now, who are being chosen, are the ones bringing the most cash to the table because it has a higher chance to close within that 30-day or 45-day period. So for Alyssa and I, we didn't want to put down 20% because that's a significant amount of cash to put down. We just relocated. We like to have some cash on hand. It just gives you that kind of relief. So we learned about that. And another thing is I learned about about a mortgage and how that works, and I'd like to share that again, if that's okay.
I think that's okay.
I'm going to do it very quick because I find this fascinating, and if I was watching a video and I was going to buy a home one day, I'd kind of like to know how this worked because I didn't know, baby. So I'll make it very quick for those of you who are like numbered out. But I love this, and it's really important for people to know because most people buy a home or at some point in their life. But when it comes to lending a home or getting a loan for a home, they will take 45% of your gross income if you're a W-2 employee. So if you make, you know, $5,000 a month, let's just round it to 50% for the sake of this. They will give you $2,500 a month up to that payment of the home. But the $2,500 you start chipping away at with your debts. So if you have a car payment of $400, now the $2,500 goes down to $2,100. You've got credit cards of $600, now it's down to $1,500. So let's just use that as an example. So even if you make $5,000 a month, the lender will only give you a loan that will cover a $1,500 a month payment, but not just on principal and not just on interest, but in homeowners insurance, property taxes, HOA, principal mortgage insurance. So all this stuff adds up. And in Florida, which I don't think is like a lot of other places, they have communities here.
Right.
And there's always 90% of the time an HOA fee. And an HOA fee to have these pools and these beautiful palm trees and these landscaping is anywhere from $200 to $700 a month on top of everything. So we just got hit really hard of like this knowledge bomb of like, oh wow, this isn't just what we thought. And on top of it, for us, I was never a W-2 employee, but my corporation used to pay Freddie, which even what I paid myself from my corporation wasn't even enough to get a house that we wanted.
Right.
But when you're self-employed, they don't look at your gross. They look at the amount after your tax write-offs. So the whole thing, I was like, there's just no shot.
And I've been self-employed since 2014.
So there was just like no shot to get like what we wanted at this time. And so we're like, okay, we're not going to do that. So next best thing, let's just rent a house.
Right.
Well,
seems like there'd be plenty of houses to rent out there in Orlando, right?
There should be. I mean, it's a big city. And the same thing was happening, is that there were fights of applications. They were putting them up, and for 3 days they would gather applications. 15 people would apply. And again, we're one of 15, and then you have to wait. And we just were like, we're not getting this. Like, we couldn't even get a house because it was just, we weren't picked. And we're like, well, we can't keep doing this.
Yeah.
So then we went back to the apartment living. And I was looking and looking and looking. And again, because it's a crazy market, every single apartment building that you would imagine, if you look up in your city, there's like those cookie cutter, beautiful apartment buildings. And the problem is that most of them were all gone. And we wanted a 2-bedroom on the top floor, which was non-existent as well.
Yes.
And at one point of feeling very defeated, living in a 300 square foot hotel room, but with everything else going well. Like, our podcast is on fire right now. It's like better than it's ever been. So thank you. The real estate business is like growing. 2 deals in the first 5 weeks. Like, life around our living situation is so great.
Excellent.
Family, my dad's coming down. Like, we're planning trips home. My cousin's coming down. I got to get my mom down here again. I haven't seen her since March. But everything's going amazing. But we're sitting in this 300 square foot hotel room. And I was like, where are we going to live? Where are we going to live? And what do you know? We were patient. For once in my life, a new apartment building came on the market. And I found it on the first day. So the whole building was wide open. And because of that, they wanted to compete with other places. They were offering 6 weeks off if you rented, and they were giving discounted prices. And we hopped in, we looked at it, we got there just in time.
Coming in hot.
And we even waited 3 days for the application, and the price skyrocketed by like $250. And we're like, no. But then they were nice enough to honor the original price that we saw that Thursday or Friday. And we put in the application, we got the place, and today, Tuesday the 22nd, we officially got the keys.
We officially got the keys, and it's really cool because it's also a corner unit. So when we went in to check everything out, it was so quiet. Knock on that wood, knock on
Where's
that
the
wood.
Where's the wood? We didn't know it was a corner unit.
We didn't. But you know why we got that corner unit? Because I need to be on the west side because I want to make sure that my son Benjamin can lay out and get a ton of sun on him. So I really fought for that unit, and it ended up being a corner unit. So it worked out well.
I'm so happy. And Alyssa and I were also chatting about, you know, even my parents and like everyone was saying, you guys are going to be so spoiled that it's going to be painful because we were living in such a beautiful house.
Live in it, yeah.
And how are you going to go from this beautiful house to an apartment? But we lived in apartments for 15 years, and we also went from that big house to a 300 square foot hotel room, which I was actually pretty happy.
Loved it.
She wasn't because we had to share stuff, but I liked it. I mean, you did have to wear socks and shoes because it felt funny on your bare feet. I don't know if it was dirty.
Dirty.
But it wasn't a dirty place. It was actually really
it was really nice and really cute, but still I get a little skeeved out with that kind of stuff.
Yeah, and I appreciate the Italian word. But it was 300 square feet. So now that we're in a 2-bedroom apartment, it just feels amazing. So once we get our stuff in there, which will be Thursday, we'll take some videos for you. And our next podcast next Wednesday, we'll shoot in the new apartment, and we'll do some sort of tour at some point for you to see it. But On a scale from 1 to 10, with all this being said, being in that apartment today, how happy are you? 1 being completely, this was a mistake, 10 being best decision of our life. Where does it fall?
Honestly, I feel like it is a 10 plus for me because there are so many different elements that made up this decision for us. And when you take all those into consideration, just having a roof over our head, super grateful for. It's in an area we love. It's 10 minutes from my parents. It's a great price, which is going to allow us to invest in other things and save up for the home that we're going to want. So that's really, really big with what we do, content creation in general. Instead of spending all that money on a place that, we stayed there all the time, but it made life a little less interesting, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, it was still the pandemic.
It's still the pandemic, but this
also,
allows us to get our stuff back in one place. I love the actual unit itself. It feels very homey to me. And I don't know, I'm super, super grateful. And I'm so weird about numbers. So when we first went to that Airbnb that we stayed in for 8 months in Florida, our very first home, the code on the door was a mixture of our birthdays. And I remember going, this is weird. How meant to be is that? What a sign. And we had so many great things happen in that house. We got married, not in the house, but while we lived there. I got my real estate license. Just so many really cool, big life changes happened. And today I go and get the code to get into the gate
for our new place.
And it's 4 digits. And the 4 digits are the last 4 digits of my very first cell phone number that I had from 16 years old that originated in South Florida all the way until a year ago, because I didn't change my number until a year ago. So I go, that just feels oddly good to me, because here I am, full circle. We're back in Florida, or I am at least. This is where my roots are. And that code just means something to me. It just, I don't know, that kind of stuff, numerology, signs. Do you believe in that stuff? Do you think it's just very...
Yeah, I think that the more I'm learning too, because I've been listening to The Untethered Soul. Yeah. Today's episode is sponsored by Care Of. High quality products meet personalization. All Care Of products are formulated with good for you, clean ingredients that are backed by science. Care Of is super transparent about the research and sourcing behind each one of their products. Quick, reliable results thanks to Care Of's online quiz. Care Of's in-depth online quiz asks you questions about your diet, lifestyle, and health concerns to help you address your specific wellness goals. I just took the online quiz, took me less than 5 minutes. I've been eating keto the past 2 weeks. I really am trying to lose weight and tone. I've been doing a lot of moving of furniture. I have more moving coming up. And I said, I'm already lifting. Let me get back into this, take my health serious. I just want to be strong. I want to be healthy. And I took this online quiz. And after you answer all the questions, they recommend what I should be taking. So I have some vitamins and some powder that is on the way. My protein powder for after I lift. I love taking protein powder after I lift to help me with my muscle recovery and muscle building. So it's a really, really fun quiz, and it'll help you. It's kind of like having a one-on-one consultant as a nutritionist being able to help you. So it's kind of like that with this quiz. So if you want to give it a try, if you're looking for some vitamins, some protein to really focus on your health this summer, check out Care Of. And they were kind enough to give all of you who want to try it 50% off your first order. So for 50% off your first Care Of order, go to takecareof.com and enter code Freddie Alyssa 50. Again, for 50% off your first Care Of order, go to takecareof.com and enter code Freddie Alyssa 50. Now back to the show. I'm really getting back into learning about myself and really taking the time to understand energy. And I think when it comes to the stars or numbers, but there are things that happen in life that are so coincidental that it makes you wonder just what are the chances?
Right.
I shared this little story on our members podcast Sunday, but I gotta share it with everyone because this is gonna blow your minds. Speaking of coincidences. Yeah. So we were chilling here in this, because this was Alyssa's parents' Airbnb. So they rented this place for 90 days with the hopes that they would find a home, close on it, and move in. and which they did. They got the keys a little while ago, but they started moving in this past Saturday, which the date
Tuesday.
would be maybe the 19th or something. I don't remember what the Saturday was. But so luckily we have this place to stay, in the meantime. But we were sitting here. I was helping them move all their stuff out of this place. We had a huge move day on this Saturday. And when I was taking a break for lunch, where I was deciding if I was going to pass out and be able to even move forward, because I had been working for 5 hours carrying stuff, and I was depleted, and I've been on keto. Can you tell I've lost a little weight? That's neither here nor there. And I was like, I need some carbs, but let me get on Instagram. So I get on Instagram after eating and resting a little bit to go, for the second half. And I saw that Camila Banus's fiance, Marlon, took a video of this water park. And I looked at the water park and I said, that kind of looks like the area that Alyssa's parents just bought, because they have a water park in their community. And I wrote him, I said, is this resort? And he goes, I think it is. And I was just kind of like, huh. But I still couldn't believe it, because I was like, what would they be doing here?
And P.S. Camila played Gabby on Days with Freddie, for anyone who doesn't know who the real name.
Yeah, so I've known Camila for
10 plus years.
Yeah, like 10 years. Marlon, we became really close with in the past few years. I've always known him in passing, because they've been together for a long time, but we've really got to spend some time lately. And I love following his stories on Instagram. He works out all the time, super motivational. And so I was doing some friendly stalking, as we do on Instagram. And so I hit him up, but then I thought nothing of it. I go, what are the chances? So I forget about it. I go back to work. Me and Alyssa's dad are over at her house, at their new house. So this was the random day. They moved here April 1st. We just so happened to be moving in on Saturday. We're moving things, taking beds apart, doing all this because the house came fully furnished. So there's some beds we needed to move. So we're taking things apart. We're moving them down the stairs, out the front door, into the garage so that we could sell them, which is another great story to share after this. Selling furniture, you might as well just, watch paint dry, or what are some other analogies? Grass grow. You get the point. So all of a sudden I hear Marlon's voice, and a group of people are walking on the street, and I go, Marlon? And he turns, and we're across the street, and I go, it's Freddie. And then Camila goes, Freddie, and runs across the street, gives me a hug. Marlon comes over, and I was like, what are the chances? I saw that this was the what? I was like, where are you staying? They go, right there. Across the street to the left, diagonally,
Crazy.
Marlon's family and Camila rented an Airbnb across the street from
my parents'
new
house.
house.
Yeah.
Out of all the houses, out of all the cities, out of all of this, they were there, and I just so happened to be walking out while they were walking in and saw them, and it was the coolest moment. It's still I just still can't believe it.
Serendipity.
And so it was just really nice. We got to chit-chat for 10, 15 minutes, and they're just wonderful. But I was just like, what are the chances of that? Because it's not like we're at a club in Miami where it's like, oh, it's a popular place. Maybe we're both there at the same time. But to be in a gated, resort and to have the house directly across and for us to be moving was pretty interesting. But there's a lot of a lot of the energy right now, and it's because we're putting it out there.
Yeah.
I'm really practicing of just having some up and down months, as this transition was going, to just be grateful. And that's why I'm at a point now where I'm just so happy to have a place. And now that we're back out there living, I would much rather, if we're going to spend a little more money, go out to eat. Yeah. Go take a 3-day trip, because we're so close to the Bahamas, we're so close to Cancun, we're so close to the Keys, we're so close to so many places in Florida, going home, visiting family. I would rather spend a little more money on that, and it still be less than what it would be in LA rent-wise in comparison. But
and one last thing about this new place we moved into. One of our favorite pastimes ever since we've known each other is walking from our place to a new restaurant, grabbing, a little food, grabbing some drinks. And where we've been living for the past 8 months, we couldn't do that because the community is so big that in order to even get to
get out of it is a 45-minute walk.
So that was just, we never have been able to do that. However, in this new place we moving into, we have an Olive Garden. We have so many different things. So many options that we're going to frequent.
We're going to befriend the bartender, because sometimes you can get some free apps or a heavy pour. We always walk, and we love, after a long day of walking to a restaurant, grabbing a couple drinks, and getting some apps. I might just get like grilled chicken skewers at this point because I'm like committed.
He's committed.
During all of this transition, I said, this is the time. And I randomly started doing like a 90% keto diet, meaning,
really good.
meats, vegetables, and cheeses. And I will cheat a little bit. Like I'll have a beer or two, or I'll have like a handful of Skittles, but that's it. I don't do bread, pasta, grilled, like our chicken tenders or deep fried food. And I just want to I want this rebirth.
Shredded,
like I want this
baby.
like
Get
new
shreddy.
life. I want to get back to my weight that I was always at before the past 3 years of fluctuation. Like I just want to be at my true weight.
Yep.
And
well, we have a gym too where we live
and
now.
we've got a
so
gym,
we can,
a big
pool, go swim.
What are your thoughts about the configuration of this apartment? It's very unique.
So at this place, they have a bunch of different layouts, but were there 3. But the one that we chose, I was so interested in it because you walk in and you have this big, beautiful kitchen. And it's kind of like if you guys watched back in 2018 when we lived in the 1-bedroom apartment in Pasadena, it's kind of set up just like that, the kitchen with the big island in the middle.
Yeah.
You walk in and then there's the living room. There are 2 separate sides, so it's like the dual masters, if you want to call it that. So there's a bathroom and bed on one side, bathroom and bed on the other. But they have a bunch of these different like little rooms that make it so unique. So on one side, there is a master with 2 closets.
2 walk-in closets.
2 walk-in closets.
Massive walk-in closets.
Huge. And I was like, what? And then on the other side, there's another huge walk-in closet. And then they have this huge laundry room, which I've never seen in an apartment. They usually just stack them on top of each other and hide them like in a corner or the kitchen or something weird.
It's really neat.
Yeah.
Like, would we
cool.
rather have that space for a bedroom, like a little more bedroom space? Yes. But I was kind of thinking maybe they did it so that, because how much time do you spend in your bedroom? Like, I think having like a laundry room, having a living room and some extra nooks and crannies make it feel a little more home. And I also never thought I would like carpet, but half the apartment is carpeted. So the only when you walk in, the laundry room, the kitchen area is wood or laminate. I can't remember. I
And
think
so
it's
are
probably
the
laminate.
bathrooms.
And the bathrooms. But everything else is
No
carpet.
carpet.
And I actually really like that.
Cozy.
It feels cozy. We were sitting there. Benji was passed out. Ooh, we got a Florida thunderstorm coming.
Yeah, Benji loved the carpet. He was just sprawled just right across it. So happy. And I will say for Benji, because he's been moving around a lot.
Yeah.
We've been in all these Airbnbs, the hotel. Like, it's just been insanity. And in this apartment, I feel he was so content and comfortable because he knew we were in either one of the rooms. There wasn't an upstairs, a downstairs. Where are they at? What are they doing? Because usually he likes to be right on top of us. He just laid in the living room, just kind of like looking around. But I don't know, I could feel his energy and he felt really happy there. So I just can't wait to get our stuff there. We did all of the measurements today, and we are going to have to put a few things in storage because, we just had a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
But, that's all good. Like, I'm just feeling so grateful, so thankful. We found a place. We get to move. We get to kind of like get back to life a little bit.
Yeah.
It's tough being on the road. Like, for people who are able to just travel all the time and like travel vlog nonstop, I say like kudos to you because living out of a suitcase for me is a little hard.
Well, I think the people who travel for vlogging have a home with their stuff in it.
Ow, that's true too.
Like we had a storage unit packed.
That's true too.
And we're gonna have to leave a lot of things. I remember in our old podcast studio, we've got this gold. Was it champagne? There's a champagne couch that's not gonna fit. There's also a little love seat that used to be in our LA apartment in the bedroom that Alyssa had, like there in the background for like pictures and stuff. There's also like this long console that won't fit. And then like my gym stuff, basketball hoop and everything like that. So we have to try to figure out if we're going to try to sell that or if we're going to keep it. Our dining table. So that's the one thing about this place is that it does not have room for a dining table, but I don't think we've ever really sat there. It has a counter for bar stools, which is going to be great. And then I stand and eat a lot because we don't ever really do big meals, but I think I'm going to start doing that in the future. But we'll eat the coffee table, or we'll just sit at the bar and eat like when we cook dinner.
We'll sit at the bar for sure. And what's funny, when we lived in Pasadena in the one bedroom, now that I look back to it, we squeezed that table in there, but it was just a mess.
It was a mess. Yeah.
It was a disaster. But it's okay. I vote. Wow, listen to that thunder. I vote we keep everything in storage that we can't fit, and we'll use it eventually, because it's all really nice pieces that took a really long time to collect. Anyone who's, furnished a place, it takes some time, it takes years sometimes.
Yeah.
You're just always collecting pieces, and even watching my parents. So we stopped by their house today, and the movers were there. So mind you, this house they moved into was furnished. So great, amazing Freddie went over there this past weekend and was helping them, move everything into the garage that they didn't want, that they wanted to sell, and he's putting everything up for them because their big shipment of all their stuff from their 3-story townhome in New Jersey arrived today. So they're trying to bring everything in and mix and match and all these boxes, and it was just absolute chaos, as you can imagine. Whoa! It's turning into a horror film.
It's really coming down. I do like it though, because I don't think it'll last long. But here in Florida,
it comes through quick.
Yeah, funny enough, the new apartment we're in, the gate wasn't working because the woman said it was struck by lightning yesterday. We were driving home yesterday. Remember from the Chase Bank? There is no Chase Bank in Reunion, Florida. The closest one was 35 minutes away down these. I don't know how these streets are even legal. There's like this one here in Reunion. It's called Old Lake Road. Uh-huh. It's just people driving 65 mile an hour on a one-way street. Like, I'm like, if someone sneezes, I don't know how, but there's a lot of streets like this. But it was thundering, lightning, pouring rain. We're on these streets. It took us an hour and a half to go to Chase and come back to get a cashier's check.
What a mess.
To move into the apartment. But we never go to a bank other than like a cashier's check, because everything you can do through like everything's basically direct deposit for us, and then you take pictures of any checks you get.
Right.
So you don't really have to ever go to the bank.
I think it's because we live close to Disney, and there just are different types of banks over here. I don't know.
I never see banks. I don't know what people use as currency in Florida, but it doesn't seem like there's many banks.
They use rain.
They use currency. Rain. So oh wow, that's what.
It's coming down. Oh, Benji.
All right, I know, Ben. Let's.
Maybe this is our cue to go.
Maybe this is our cue to go. We're gonna we'll do a tour. We'll put up some more videos this week if we get everything situated. So we'll do a little tour of our apartment and show you what's going to be home. And then I think by next Wednesday we're going to have a schedule and a plan together, so that we can kind of share with you like our vision of moving forward of what we're going to do. And
also
we can follow
thank you
that
for bearing with us on all of our transitions and this journey, because it's been crazy, but it's been so much fun to just share it with you and be able to, kind of vent and talk to you and tell you what's been going on. So we appreciate you so much for being on this.
Thanks for coming on this adventure, and we're going to be very mindful of the content we're putting out in the future too. And I can't wait to share that with all of you. So thank you for tuning in today. We will be back next Wednesday in our new apartment. So we cannot wait. So have a phenomenal rest of your week and a great weekend, and we will see you next Wednesday.